Tucked away in the luscious green mountains of North Carolina, there is a special place. A place where friends, families, and loved ones gather to create memories. Experience laughter, enjoy outdoor recreation, and engage in nature's beauty. Sugar Mountain is a place that so many call home. A place where generations have learned to ski and snowboard. A place where families have come together to enjoy something so magical. A place carefully curated over the last 50 years into a family oasis. "50 years of hard work from hundreds of people to allow the enjoyment of skiing and snowboarding in the Southeast. 50 years of learning, growing, and educating people on the wonderful thrill of flying down a mountain. Gliding on the top of a frozen mass of snow. Gazing upon the Blue Ridge Mountains that surround you. 200 seasons of vision and innovation. Decades of history and determination. Half a century of growth, change, and modernization. Today, Sugar Mountain enjoys the company of hundreds of thousands each year. From skiing and snowboarding to ice skating and tubing, there's something for everyone to enjoy. 18,250 days dedicated to the sole purpose of bringing joy to people's lives.
I'm from Austria. I grew up in the Alps. We skied or had snow 5-6 months out of the year to a point where you get sick of it, you know. And so when I came to this country and I saw how snowmaking, or saw the first snowmaking ever, I was just, oh my God, this is unbelievable, you know. But it was fun, it was technology, it was exciting, it was adventurous, and I never really intended to stay in this country, but I did come back after I finished school and made my life here.
Well, to begin with, Gunther came here at a time when the place was under bankruptcy. And I saw hope. I was going to be out of a job if somebody didn't get the place back on its feet and get it running.
The economy took a downturn. You know, interest rates went real high. Gas prices were high. You know, the resorts were based on real estate sales. So they both had financial problems. They were both taken over the bank, and the bank sold them at auction. So, I mean, they had some tough times.
Before the tourist industry came here, a lot of people were moving away because they didn't have work. And I'm glad that the tourist industry came. At least I was able to stay here and have a job all my life. He was young. He was a young person, and a lot of people had their doubts. A lot of the employees that were here then had their doubts about a young man that young taking over an operation and running it. And I had high hopes, and it didn't take me long to realize that he was the person that could do it. He had the attitude, like I say, to get it done, and that's what it took. It wasn't easy, and he never did mind getting out there with us and getting his hands dirty. Things weren't finished. The lodge wasn't finished. The lifts were usable and they could ski, but there was a lot of things that were still being worked on. We had people working around the clock, plumbers, electricians working in the lodge, trying to get things done, working at night when people weren't here skiing. So there was a lot going on.
My relationship was entirely with Dale early, and he introduced me to Gunther, and I thought, my God, he got someone, a very smart guy. Dale's a smart guy, and basically he brought in someone who could make that transition to the major leagues as opposed to the minor leagues.
Gunther was a was and is a better manager of skiing than I am. And he was the man that really kept everything going in terms of the way skiing should be on a mountain.
And basically Gunther came in with the technology and with the understanding of, I love to tease him about, he was a snowmaker when I met him, and he was anything but that.
The really a hard time was in the very beginning, to move into anything that is in bankruptcy is difficult because a lot of people lose money. They all look at you to regain some of the stuff they lost, but that's not possible. Ended up with an option to buy in the second lease that we had the second year. Our first lease was 76, 77, and 77, 78, and then we had an option to buy after that. And formed a new company, Sugar Mountain Resort Incorporated. And over the years, like I said, I was, very lucky that at the end, for almost 10 years now, I own the company. And when you look at all the things that we went through, again, when you look back, it's part of human nature. You forget really the worst, and you remember most of the good.
He gets it. He understands finance. He understands all the other things and then of course he really understands the ski business. So when basically, he got married, and I could see she got involved in the business, in a little way and then a bigger way, and they complement each other in ways that, she knows the ski business because she can ski better than Gunther. But basically, Gunther will love that. But basically, it's a very impressive format that they have, and it's no surprise to me that it's been as successful as it has.
It has brought a lot of business to this area. It has had a tremendous impact on the economy of this area.
That brings not only a lot of entertainment to people, but also brings a lot of much-needed jobs. And the combination of the two while preserving the natural beauty is something we need to celebrate and also not take for granted for the next 50 years.
Because of Kim's success on the U.S. ski team, and Gunther's success running ski resorts, running a ski company, coming from Austria, it's pretty amazing to have those two specifically living in North Carolina and at that ski resort. It's a really remarkable thing. And when you look at the classic ski resorts across the U.S., it is bizarre how many of them have people that grew up in Austria, either running them, affiliated with them, running their ski school, whatever it is. And so that culture has definitely moved from Europe straight into the mountains of North Carolina, and I think a wonderful way.
In the early days, all the instructors were from foreign countries. There was no history of skiing here in the Southeast at all. So, they had to get instructors from other places, and everybody that came was a beginner. There were very few experienced skiers in this area. People who were experienced didn't think about going to the South to ski. They were going to some of the bigger areas that were already operating. So we dealt with beginners. Mostly that was all we're here.
Sometimes when we leave the ski area, we would drive around to the different motels to see where license tags were from, to have some idea where people had come from to come skiing here. And I always wondered, how did they find us, a little area up here in North Carolina mountains? How did they, why did they come here? And in fact, nobody around hardly knew anything about skiing at that time. A few people who'd either been in service or a few maybe who'd moved down from the New England states. But very few people knew anything about skiing then.
It's really changed nationwide as to what the trends are. So back in the 70s, you had stretch pants and terrible jackets that just got absolutely soaked. You had long, skinny skis that were really difficult to turn. The equipment to groom was not good, and so the slopes were bumpy and messy, and snowmaking was spotty at best, not because of the mountain, but because of the technology, quite honestly. And so the trends were there to ski as much as you could, and it was really different then too, because when yellow lift was in place, it took 20 minutes to go up the thing. So you would start skiing as soon as you possibly could in the morning, and you'd ski till the very last bit of the day, because in that you'd get 10 runs maximum, and now you can get that between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. practically. So that's a big trend shift there, is from an all-day situation to like almost skiing in an hourly situation.
In Atlanta with the ski club, before we came up here on trips, we would set up a sawdust hill at the Bobby Jones golf course and learn how to ski on sawdust. And we did that in the summer, like in August and September, so then by December we were ready to come skiing. And those were the days when we had the long skis. We didn't have nice shaped skis that were short. We had the long skis, so that got to be a little frantic trying to get down a sawdust hill. People always enjoyed coming up here, and afterwards they had parties up in the ski center building. They didn't have liquor by the drink, so they had a club, and you could bring your own bottle, and they had lockers up there. So we had parties. We had parties in the winter and the summertime. They would cut the skiing off at probably maybe 50,000 people. It was marketed as a members resort, so that way the members could always ski and it would not be very crowded. They were some of the best years, and as Ken Ketchy said one year, he said it was like a summer camp up here in the 70s. And the kids loved to come up here. Families would come with 3 or 4 kids, and there was always something that the kids could do in the outdoors. And a lot of children nowadays don't have the opportunity to be outside, and that's such an important thing today. They need to be able to come back and do some of that.
There are so many people that have started here as kids when I got here, and they come back as adults with their kids. It's good to see that. So many families say, this is my home.
We started coming up here just because we love the mountains so much. We did some skiing out in Colorado, then we started skiing here, and my kids really loved it. And New Year's Eve, I'll never forget the time we went to a great New Year's Eve party, watched everybody skiing down the mountain with all the fireworks. The sights you have here, the way it makes you feel, how you breathe so easy, and just an overall mental feel I get when I leave here. I leave here happy. I leave here feeling good, and I can't say that about a lot of places.
It's provided a recreation that families can participate in. Young people today have the opportunity to learn to ski. When I was growing up, I don't think I had a friend that had ever even seen us ski. And now, where children have grown up skiing, where their parents have grown up skiing, it's become a family sport, and it's brought families together.
We have 4 kids, and they all grew up on Sugar and such. They started skiing at Sugar. We have pictures of them at the store when they're 2 years old, skiing down Big Birch. Well, skiing has really brought our family closer together over the years and such. It's one of those things that we can all do as a family, all enjoy, and no matter what the age is.
I came onto the top of this mountain right here when I was probably 10 years old, and a buddy of mine left me, and I was forced to learn how to ski from the very top. And I repeated that experience with other friends of mine and made them do the same thing. And then Gunter and Kim did that to me much later on when I was 60 years old, and it brought back a lot of memories. And I not only survived, but I had a great time.
The first day my daughter skied was at Sugar, and the first day my son skied was at Sugar. So it carried on from me, because my first day ever skiing was at Sugar. And so it's literally multi-generational for me, which is exciting and a lot of fun.
We are a family resort. We like to see families feel at home and secure, enjoy the mountain with their kids. So yeah, that's a good part. Yeah, and, you know, skiing is one of the few activities you do together. You know, you spend the day together. And of course, with this new lift, you can ride together. So we see a lot of those families, and we're very proud that they still call this place home, generations and generations.
They call it the Blue Ridge Mountains for a reason. I just walked a beautiful path 50 yards from where I'm sitting and looked at the state of Tennessee. I mean, there are not many other places where you look one way and see the beautiful state of North Carolina and look the other way and see the beautiful state of Tennessee. And literally, it's a 360-degree view that you can't get anywhere else.
The rugged mountains, the elevation of the mountains, the deep valleys, there's so much lush foliage that hugs everything in tightly. The combination of this rugged and this softness at the same time is what's most inviting about the mountains here, about Sugar Mountain and all of the mountains here in western North Carolina.
North Carolina and southeastern skiing in general is probably more important today than any other time in the sport's history. People very rarely fly 3,000 miles to learn to ski and snowboard, but they do drive 200 or 300 to learn to ski and snowboard. So having the North Carolina ski areas available to teach a new generation how to ski and snowboard is incredibly important to the long-term health of the industry. And the North Carolina industry does that beautifully. It really does allow people within a day's drive, a significant number of people within a day's drive, to be in the mountains, to access winter sports. And so North Carolina skiing has become more important today probably than it was at its inception 50 years ago.
So many of the families not only ski here, but you wouldn't believe the places all over the country, all around the world, that our people in this whole area ski now.
There was always great teamwork, and all the people we had, the majority always pitched in, and it always, and especially with Warren, you never had to worry about it. It was just taken care of, and he knew so much about everything. He didn't have to explain every minute what's going on. He knew all about it.
A lot of it was his leadership. You know, you knew what he expected, and so you just did it. There was no questions asked. He was about getting everything done.
When I was teaching Olivia to ski, when she was really young, around 2001 or 2002, Sugar still had its rope tow, which the rope tow was an original lift, built in 1969. And I would schlep her up and down the rope tow. And then one day it was hot. I went inside, I went into Gunter's office, and I said, we need to get rid of this rope tow. We need a magic carpet. And the whole Sugar Mountain team came together, and like I said, within a week we had a rope tow ripped out during ski season and a magic carpet put in. So I mean, that's a real testament to the teamwork we have, to the energy and the effort that people want to put in to make things work here at Sugar Mountain.
We've done all the work for Gunther since first time I met him It was in January of '76, first time. And we done this Gunther's Way down here, but we had big rock cliffs and stuff to go over. In his word, how we was going to do it, but we fixed Gunther's Way and we covered the rocks, and we had a couple of big tractors in here that moved the whole rock cliff.
The summer we did the Alpine Slide was, it was a lot of work, but we also had a lot of fun doing it, putting it in, getting it operational, and watching people come during having a summer activity.
And it was a fun time. We've worked for him for 42, 43 years.
Yeah, we moved a lot of dirt here, didn't we, Mike?
We have, I don't know about the dirt, we moved a lot of rock.
Oh, there's hardly any rock here.
No, and Kim was on, we've got a big dozer down there, and she was supposed to run it down there on...
she did.
That lice, did you?
I have a picture of it, yeah, but smoke's coming out and everything else.
Well, that's a good thing.
Didn't you, Kim?
Kim, when you got plenty of time, we get out again working, you can just come run it yourself. And, I told him down there one day he wanted to haul all them logs down there so them boys could cut them up down in number 5 parking lot. I said, Gunther, we can do the whole slope, everything in here cheaper than we could haul them logs off. Okay, I said, you just leave us alone and let us go. Come up here 3 or 4 days later, and it didn't have grass on it, but it was graded like it was. Kim come up, she was here almost every evening, and Gunther, he'd come some when he wasn't playing golf or flying. He'd come up here, but it didn't matter. They need to get it done, and I'd stay down there from early in the morning, 7 in the morning to dark, trying to get it where they could get in.
We had Pat and Jerry down there. That's what really got it done.
Yeah.
But no, and in the end, he did give me a price, and I think the whole thing came in $200,000 under the price he gave me, something like that. And that's, those are not you don't find that with other people. He would never take advantage of anything, and that never happened. And so, that gets a friendship started that lasts. And we cut up a lot. There's no doubt.
Gunther was a help to Grady in a lot of ways. I mean, Gunther knew skiing. Grady didn't know skiing. But one morning, Gunther and Grady were talking, and we had one snowcat, and Grady had problems with it. It had broken down. And Gunther said, well, he had an extra one, just come over and get it. Well, I think Grady thought, well, that was just a polite comment. But I think Gunther called him back and said, I mean it. Said, you come over and get it. And so Grady did. But Gunther was that kind of friend to Grady. You don't need enemies in the ski business. You need friends. You need to work together. If things are going good for one, it's going good for everybody. Sugar Mountain has certainly given a lot of good recognition to skiing in North Carolina, and that's important to all of our areas.
We are celebrating the 50th year. Things do wear out, get old, have to be replaced. What's for sure is that we'll continue to make things better. If you turn your head down there, you see all the snowmaking pipe that we're just replacing, which is our last 2,000 feet of old snowmaking pipe that's going to be replaced. Food service to the transportation uphill. We have invested a large amount of money in the last 5-6 years into snowmaking. it is constantly something that has to be upgraded. But besides upgrading, we also want to move forward and not just upgrade, but improve. And I think that's what makes us special. We've changed our pumping capacity, but not only have we increased pumping, we have decreased energy demand per gallon of water with the more efficient pumps.
We're both very passionate about maintaining nature and playing and operating in a natural environment. So I think what we try to do is keep as many of the activities that we promote and that we create as natural as possible. All of the activities here at Sugar, you have to use some kind of effort, some kind of energy within yourself to go and do the activity. It's healthy. What we try to promote here is healthy activity.
The improvements made here recently are just like the lift here we're sitting close to. I never thought I'd ever see anything like that here on Sugar Mountain. It's tremendous.
Someone just recently, I think over the 4th of July, said to me, "Oh, you haven't had very good snow lately." And I said, "It's probably the best snow we've had in 40 years because of what they can do with snowmaking now and how Gunther especially can see what needs to be done, what needs to be moved around and everything. And that's what makes it a good year for us, as long as we can keep snow on this mountain the whole year."
Sugar is one of those places that, if you think about it, if you think about Sugar, you think about its relationship with its core customer, it has as loyal a group of core customers as any place. And that's what creates that special, unique feel for a place.
As I think about all of this, I come back to, the differentiator, the thing that makes the difference. I say that Sugar Mountain doesn't exist without Gunther and Kimmy in the effort that they put into it on ways that you'll never see. And they have chosen to go the long road. So it becomes a family operation, yet it isn't mom and pop. It's professional, and that's the difference. And they deserve a lot of credit and congratulations.
Oh, to live on Sugar Mountain with the barkers and the colored balloons. You can't be 20 on Sugar Mountain, though you're thinking that you're leaving there too soon. You're leaving there too soon. Oh, to live on Sugar Mountain with the barkers and the colored balloons. You can't be 20 on Sugar Mountain, though you're thinking that you're leaving there too soon.